Good morning, and this is the International Arbitrage from Bats Rock, Barbados. And this morning I'm talking to my fellow Barbadian citizens. I will do a separate video for the diaspora of Barbados, and I'll deal with each country separately: the US, UK, Canada. Those are the big countries where we have large cohorts of Bajans, Barbadian nationals. People descended from Barbadian nationals. Both of my parents were Barbadian nationals. I was born in the UK, but I grew up in Barbados. Spent a lot of time outside of Barbados, but I'm back. I'm here in Barbados. I'm what they call or they used to call a returning national. I don't hear that term much anymore, which I'm glad, because I never really liked that term. But I want to talk to my fellow Barbadian citizens. And so, there was an interesting article in the Barbados Today publication, which the guy was writing about the fact that in this day, in 2023, Barbadians don't have access to receive payments from Google Play. And it is true that Barbadians, nationals, citizens based in Barbados, through our banking system, don't really have affordable access to the ability to receive payments using social media engines, online platforms like Google Play, and things of that nature. PayPal and things like that are too extortionate for us because those costs are too high. Barbados, as a small country, is deemed as a high risk. They charge somewhere between 10 and 15% per transaction, which is just essentially madness and way too much cost for an online transaction. And so Barbadian citizens are cut out of international internet business today. Now, there are reasons for this. It's due to the fiscal and the regulatory landscape of Barbados, but I'm not going to get into how to do that, because I haven't, first of all, I don't want to waste your time and talk about theoretical things. I don't know if there are any plans to change it or how it will be changed, but I was glad to see the article, which brings me to so in the meantime, while we wait for the policymakers to address these kind of things, at the end of the day, don't let these things stop you. And it doesn't stop a lot of people. A lot of Barbadians do leave. That's the number one thing they do. They leave, they go overseas, they go to school, they leave the country, they go and do different things. And but for those of us who are here, based here, and remain here, what you can actually do is a number of things. You can essentially think about setting up a business in the US, for example. You could set up a business in the US. Now, there are ways of setting up a business in the US whereby you can gain access to banking in the US, right? You could do it with family, where, say, for instance, you could go 50-50, or you could have your family as a shareholder or the trustee of your business. In the US, there's a range of vehicles to do business. One of them is a business trust. So you could make your family member your trustee of your business trust. A business trust is a very powerful vehicle because it will protect you and the money in your business, because it's subject to the law of equity and fiduciary obligations. And what that means is there's a lot of legal protections. Nobody is going to, as trustee of a business trust, is going to basically take the money that is in your business or do anything untoward, because the sanctions, the penalties will be high. It's just not worth doing. But, some of us, we don't trust easily. Trust is low in many environments, so that might not work for you. Well, the other way you can do it is work with service providers or partners. Find a service provider or partner who will give you access to their platform in the US. And this is something that I've been considering doing for some time, but I need to work with a business partner of mine in the US. He's busy dealing with commodities in Africa. But as soon as he has got that under control, what we are going to do is offer a platform of services that give manufacturers, sole business persons, sole practitioners, that gives small manufacturers, that gives small business people access to the US banking system via a ready-made platform, using contracts, using a trust, so high levels of systematic trust, which of course will have a transaction cost, but way less than PayPal, which will enable them to utilize social media engines to promote and sell, build brand in the US, and build and sell their product. Of course, all of the requirements of building brand, of the logistics of exporting, but Barbados has a lot of things that facilitate exporting. There is a new focus, new policies, new frameworks for those who are exporting. So it's a good time to do exporting and begin to build an international business. The benefit of generating export revenues, foreign currency income, is that you will also, as a Barbadian, you can achieve a lower tax rate. You will achieve a lower tax rate if you have a business that generates foreign currency. Now, you can speak to your accountant or your lawyer about that. They will explain it to you. This is not a secret. There are many businesses in Barbados that focus on generating foreign currency, that all of their clients, are more than 99% of their clients are outside of Barbados, and they earn foreign currency, and they achieve very low rates of international, very low rates of taxation. So there's everything to play for in this. It's definitely worth looking into. It's not, look, you can either go with family, you can go with friends. You will need to do something like get a lease to open up a merchant account at a bank in the US. And there are banks in the US that don't require non-US persons to have social security numbers, because many banks in the US require social security numbers to be able to open a bank account with them now. That's in the last 2 years, that's very recent. A lot of banks in the US have resiled from or moved away from providing services to non-US persons that don't live in the US. But still, there is a lot of opportunity to do this, because there are a lot of smaller banks, like especially in Florida, Miami, where we are close to, that will open bank accounts to people that don't have social security numbers. But you probably have to present yourself in person and open the bank account that way by going directly to the bank. And when you do that, you can essentially get a merchant account, which means that you can get a bank account that essentially you'll be able to receive debit and credit card payments. And therefore, of course, you can set up your website. You can use something like an LLC. Now, the benefits of Barbadians are fantastic. Not only is it that the revenues and the profits that you generate in the US will be subject to tax in Barbados at 5%. The basic corporate tax rate in the US is 21%. In Florida, in total, the corporate tax rate is 26%. So you can compete with US businesses if you care to, because you're 26% lower taxation. And then you can set up this merchant account and market and build your brand in the US, and then move beyond from there. And of course, the Port of Miami is a fantastic place to ship from. And so you can basically build up clientele all over the world, because your debit and credit card facilities using your US bank account on your website will basically be able to take debit and credit card payments from anywhere in the world. MasterCard, Visa, and all the other credit card providers. So I'm actually gonna set up a course in the Barbados O level, where my offices are based. And I'm gonna put that course together and essentially offer it to Barbadians I'm just going to offer it to Barbadians at relatively low cost, just because I think a lot of people are just not aware of simple solutions to doing international business to supplement their their local income. I've heard other Barbadians talking and promoting digital marketing, making money online, and I support these things. These are great initiatives, but I do know that there are challenges in monetizing your product, your content, because you can't receive payments from overseas credit cards and debit cards. And that problem is solvable. It's very much solvable. So I'll be recording and putting on more on this in the days and weeks to come. Cheers.